Shabbat Shalom. You guys ready? Let's start. Hey, I la 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 la. Hey, I la 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 la. Hey, I la la la. Okay, let's wake up, my friends. Let's wake up. Hey, la 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 la. Hey, la 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 Shabbat Shalom. Where did this week go? I could swear on my life that I feel I was here just yesterday. And isn't time, this elusive things, the more we enjoy it, the more we find it meaningful, the more we're engaged with it, it just goes so fast. And my friends, we're not here to worship a God that needs to hear us worshiping it. We're here because we precisely understand that there is nothing more valuable than time. And that it is our duty, it is our commandment, it is necessary for us to learn how to stop in time. That we need to be able to say, wait a moment. While I don't know how much time I have in this world, I'm in charge of my time. I can control my time. I can decide when I stop. I can decide where to be and when. We each have that ability. No one can take Shabbat away from us. And so every time Shabbat arrives, we take a deep breath. We sense this inner sense of peace and wholeness, and we turn to someone next to us and we wish them Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. In the middle of page 10, there's a beautiful piyut. It's called Yedid Nefesh. It invites the presence of that which we do not know to explain to be here tonight with us, to hopefully feel that there's something greater than us with us here tonight. Avarachaman, Avarachaman, Meshochavecha, Eretzonecha, Yarutz Avecha, Kemo Ayal, Ishtachave Take a deep breath and exhale the oil of the week. Oh. I spoke with someone today on the phone. I said, how are you? She said, "Oi." I said, could be better. Could also be worse. It could go oy vey. And there's even an escalation of that, right? Oy vey zmir. Let's do an oy vey zmir. Ready? Take a deep breath. Oy vey zmir. So releasing to let go of the things that bother us. Whatever bothers you, leave it outside for the next hour. For the next hour, we're going to take this little magic called Judaism, that little J, and take the oy into the joy. So let's share some joys. We have a lot of joys here today, beginning with Mr. Sam. Mr. Sam, stand up. Mr. Sam, and he's going to become a bar mitzvah immediately after the high holidays, but we invited Sam and his parents tonight to say the Kiddush and to say the Shema for us in anticipation for you becoming a man. You have a month to prepare, but he is amazing. I wish all our Bnei Mitzvah students would be such amazing. You are really a pleasure, and Mazel Tov to you, and it's such an honor and pleasure to have you here. Mazel Tov. That is one simcha. Have a seat. Do we have more simchas? We have another simcha that you'll see later today. There's a little baby here. Her name is
What did you just say?
Her name is Miri or Miriam, but in a few minutes she'll receive her Hebrew name in front of the Torah and with the blessing of God, and we'll be naming a Miriam over here. So Mazel Tov to the entire Uzi. I want to say family, but you're a clan. Look at this. There's a clan over here. Beautiful. We have a lot of new people here today, so welcome. If you've never been to Temple Judea, I want to warn you, this might be the beginning of the rest of your life. There's something infectious that happens here. It's hard to get rid of it, and you have to come back week after week to take it out of your system or to enjoy it more. So Mazel Tov to all of you. Chuck, we said Mazel Tov to your birthday last week. Why don't we say it again? Because it was right on Tuesday. It was in the middle. Yeah, so Mazel Tov to Chuck again. Alan, Mazel Tov. Are we sharing numbers? I don't think so. You're not? I don't think so. You're too young. You're the new 60. That's it. Beautiful. More simchas. Please share simchas. We need simchas. Yes. Charles Feldman, it's your birthday when? 23rd birthday. How many years are you celebrating? 23? 86, my friends. This is 86. In Israel, he's only 68. He's only more simchas. Simchas once. Yes. Mr. Cohen. Your first granddaughter is getting married. Soon, God willing, to make your great-grandfather. That's beautiful. Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. More simchas. Dan? Birthday. You need Amy to tell you that? You're not that old. Very good. Mazel Tov, Dan. We're so happy. More simchas to share, my friends. We need simchas. More simchas. It doesn't have to be anything too big. It could be something small. Here, Alicia. Live from the EC Theater, Logan flew in for high holidays. What a great thing. One more opportunity, more simchas. Yes, Hal.
Many years, we had our entire family
Labor Day weekend with the entire family after years of COVID. My friends, we don't do this often enough. We don't share simchas. We don't just tell other people why we're happy. We're good in kvetching, the oy vey zmir, excellent. But do this more often, and especially on Shabbat. Share your joys, share your simchas, but don't forget, as I'll speak later today, that the source of all the goodness that we have doesn't necessarily come just from us. We are blessed. And so let's, if we can, rise and say, thank you, God. Thank you for entrusting us with life. Thank you for sustaining us. Thank you for our health. Thank you for our community. Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
It deserves being said again.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
A big amen. Already standing, turn to someone you don't know, introduce yourself. Let's create a big Temple Judea family, get to know someone. Seitchem leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Yehi melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch. So every Shabbat we get an opportunity to light the candles. Sam, you're standing in between your parents who I know you bring light into their life and they bring lots of light into your life. And let's always, as we light Shabbat candles, remember to think of all the people in our lives that bring light. Let's say the blessing together as we bring the Shabbat light into our hearts. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Some come with your parents, take the Kiddush cup, come to the front. Our Kiddush reminds us, bring the Kiddush cup with you. Our Kiddush reminds us that just 13 years ago, you were born, and then you guys blinked, and it's bar mitzvah. It's unbelievable. And so let's take the time to acknowledge time that passes and the blessings. We're on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam borei keri hakafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'ma'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila le'mikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'avim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'ratzon hilchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen.
up to the Bima. We're going to ask Sarah and Herb and Miriam. Oh,
Aww.
you're all coming up. And here, you guys can stand here. And we're about to name Miriam. We're about to give her Miriam, although Miriam is a Hebrew name, she has another Hebrew name. And we'd like Sarah, for you, or for you to tell us how you chose the name Miriam, how you chose her name Michal, before we give her her official name.
Hi, everybody. Oh, Shabbat Shalom. Well, Miriam and Michal, her Hebrew name, are both in honor of her grandfather Michael, who unfortunately passed a couple of years ago. For the non-Hebrew name, we always wanted a name that started with an M, and we just went back and forth, and there just weren't any names that we liked. All apologies to anyone here whose name starts with an M, who's not Miriam. But she's our third, and we've always kind of had the idea that, with exception to this one, that we want to see them before we name them. We have a couple ideas in the tank, but you want to see them before you name them, because how do you know what their name is until you can really look at them? And we had a bunch of M names, and Miriam crept up, and and her grandfather Michael would have loved the name Miriam, obviously, sister of Moses, and so that meant a lot to her, and so we chose that name, and I think it's perfect, because when you look at her, she's definitely a Miri Piri little girl. And then the Hebrew name Michal was a no-brainer for Michael, her grandfather, who she never got to meet, but is looking down on her and will guide her the whole way through. Many of you who may not have known Michael, but many of you do, and know that she looks exactly like him, whether that be happenstance or more than that.
He was one handsome guy.
He was. I like to think, especially when she's sleeping, and she's got kind of that inherent frown that Michael had. She looks a lot like him. And if there's anything that I would want Michael to have passed on to Michal, it would be something that he passed on to his daughter Sarah, which is complete unflappability no matter what's going on. You never knew if he was up, if he was having a good day, if he was having a bad day. Not dramatic at all, pragmatic, and just willing to solve whatever problem was in front of him without making a big deal about it.
So, thank you so much for sharing that. And so we have an opportunity now to say, משברך אבותינו ואמותינו הוא יברך את הילדה זאתי, מרים עוזי, ויקרא שמה בישראל, and let her name in Israel be known as מיכל, בת שרה וחיים יהודה, to which we all say, Amen. We did a naming ceremony earlier in our back room, but now we want to complete that ceremony by offering Michal, Bat Sarah, V'chaim Yehuda, the priestly benediction. We're going to open the ark and ask you all to please rise. Come over here. This is a blessing. Come. You'll put your hands on both their heads, because this is a blessing we give our kids every Friday if we can. And it goes like this.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God always bless and protect you.
Yair Adonai v'hanav lecha v'yifunecha.
Michal, may God always shine God's countenance upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God always be present in your life, in all of your lives as a family. May God always bless all of you with shalom, with peace. And we all say,
May it
be so.
Ken yehi ratzon.
thank you so much for allowing us to do this for you. We are on page 12. Lechuna Ranena. Let us rejoice together.
Let us sing out to God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountains to sea hear our song. Let everyone. Ladonai. Nadia. For all of the wonders in all of God's light, we rejoice. So now let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice.
We're on the last 6 lines of page 13. On Shabbat, it's not just we that rejoice. It feels like the entire creation rejoices. And Psalm 96 tries to show us that we're just part of a whole cosmos, a whole universe that is celebrating this gift of Shabbat. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. V'tageh ha'aretz. Yirah Yismechu Hashamayim v'tageh ha'aretz yirah ha'ayam u'melo. You all know the words. Yabba-bye, bye, bye-bye, yabba-bye, bye, bye-bye, yabba-bye, bye, bye-bye, bye, bye-bye, bye, bye-bye, yabba-bye, bye, bye-bye, yabba-bye, bye, bye-bye, yabba-bye, bye, bye-bye, bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Yismechu Hashamayim v'tageh ha'aretz yirah ha'ayam u'melo. Yismechu Hashamayim v'tageh ha'aretz yirah ha'ayam u'melo. I hope you felt your heart was moving with this baby naming. We don't get to do that too often here. There's something so special about a Jewish name, the fact that you name someone and you hope, and I asked them, what do you hope? What characters, what qualities, what traits of the person that you are remembering, that you are naming after, you wish your child to have? And I hope that if you're named after someone, that you know something about that someone, that when you think about that someone, something lights in you. You say, I'm proud to carry my name, to honor their memory. Think about that. Maybe one day somebody will be named after us. that every day we try to build a name for us that will justify giving it to someone 2 or 3 or 4 generations down the road. If you don't have a Hebrew name, don't worry. This year, we're doing something that we have never done here before. In Parashat Shmot, I can't remember the name, but I'm good, the date, but it's somewhere in the new year. You'll read about it. Anyone who doesn't have a Hebrew name will be called onto the bima, and we will name you. We will give you a Hebrew name, and you'll get a chance to choose a Hebrew name to honor maybe someone that you love so much, to remember through your name their qualities. So as we turn to page 14 at the bottom and sing Or Zarua Latzadik, I want you to think about a person in your life that is no longer with us, that inspired you to be the person you are today.
Or Zarua Latzadik, Ul'Yisrael Simcha. Or Zarua Latzadik, Ul'Yisrael everyone, Or Zarua Latzadik, Or Zarua Latzadik, Ul'Yisrael Simcha. Or Zarua Latzadik, Ul'Yisrael
As you know, Temple Judea is going to Israel again in March. It's been a while since we've been, and we are going to be in the city where Lecha Dodi was written in Sfat. There are still a few places left on our trip to Israel, so I'd like to invite you to think about it. If you have any questions, ask me about it. But meanwhile, we have a few people sitting here with us that already know that they're going with us to Israel. Why don't you please join me at the doors to welcome Shabbat, as we will do in a few months in Israel together. Page 20. Kala. Shabbat, B'nei Shabbat, Nekabe, Ya la la la, Lecha Dodi, Ya la la la, Ya la la, Nikakala, Ya la la, B'nei Shabbat, Nekabe, Shamor, Shamor v'Zachor, בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשמו תפארת ותהילה Shabbat, B'nei Shabbat, Nekabila, Likrat Shabbat, Lechu v'nelcha, Ki Mekor HaBeracha,
אדוני. יאללה לה 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 לקראת כלה, יאללה לה 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 פני שבת, פני שבת.
Let's all rise.
אוי ושלום, עטרת פניו, גם בשמחה וצהריים, טוב אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה.
Let's stay standing. Shabbat. The high holidays are upon us, and maybe one of the most amazing thing about the high holidays is the music of the high holidays. Even if you're not a temple goer, even if you haven't been a temple in a long time, maybe you have a childhood memory. Maybe it's the first time you ever came to a high holiday service, and this music that has power, it's almost as if it's reaching into your Godkes and pulling them out. And so we're preparing ourselves for the high holiday. We're building the excitement that comes with these high holidays today as we turn to page 28, the Barchu, to the sound of our high holidays. Please have a seat. Tomorrow night is Slichot. Slichot is that special service where we really turn the switch and start praying those special prayers of the high holidays. It's tomorrow at 7:30. So glad I don't have to remember those details. There's someone to remind me. And if you've never attended a Slichot service, what do you have to lose? At worst, you'll leave after an hour saying, okay. But there is a chance, my friends. There is a chance that something inside of you will move. Take that risk. Listen to this poem. The gates are opening, a transition in time. Notice and walk through. Tomorrow night, we open ourselves to possibility, to becoming better than we were before. Tomorrow night, we prepare to breathe into our changes and begin anew. Tomorrow night, we turn from despair and returns towards hope. Even if we aren't certain, even if we feel wobbly as fawns, uncertain how to bound across the sunset grass, tomorrow night we turn from inattention and return toward awe, even if we don't remember the way. My friends, the gates are opening. Above a sapphire floor. God waits. Will we come in? ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני המעריב ערבים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. And Sam will chant together with you, but you will lead us in the Vahavta. This is the prayer that is affixed on the mezuzah that you and I hang together on the door of your room. It's there. I know you know this prayer because I know you see it at least every day. I hope you go in and out, right? He doesn't stay in his room all day, right? Comes out for dinner, right? So you see the mezuzah at least once a day, and you remember this prayer. So let's say it together.
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וקשרתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם.
And in the tradition that we have at Temple Judea, rather than tell other people what to do, you remind yourself, Sam, of the role of a Jewish leader that you're taking upon yourself by reading the Vahavta in English in first person.
I will love Adonai my God with all my heart, with all my soul, and with all my might. I will take to heart these instructions with which you charge me this day. I will impress them upon my children and grandchildren. I will recite them when I stay at home and when I am away, when I lie down and when I get up. I will bind them as a sign on my hand and let them serve as a symbol on my forehead. I will inscribe them on the doorposts of my house and on my gates. Thus I shall remember to observe all your commandments and to be holy to my God. You are Adonai my God, who brought me out of the land of Egypt to be my God. You are Adonai my God. Adonai Elohim. Amen.
Rosh Hashanah is the birthday of the world. It gives us an opportunity to once again awaken and see what a wonderful world it is. Is it a world that doesn't have challenges? No, plenty of challenges. Is it a world that is free from pain? Oh, do you know? But this still doesn't change the fact that it's a wonderful world. And so our challenges that the Mi Kamocha comes to remind us, today we're going to sing about that Mi Kamocha, that challenge of leaving Egypt through the eyes and the lens of a wonderful world.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, everyone, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed day and the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. You got
Page
it.
40, Mi Kamocha.
Mi Kamocha. more time. You all have that. Mi chamocha.
Mi
chamocha. Ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha. Nedar b'kodesh. Yorat teilot. Osei feleh. And I think to myself, what do we think? What a wonderful world.
On page 43, the world would be even more wonderful if we allowed a little bit more love and understanding to dwell among us, if we allowed peace and friendship to be our shelters from life's storm. Let's join in this prayer together.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm. Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu, Leshalom, Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu, Leshalom. Let there be love. Let there be love.
You guys.
And understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storm.
Let the joy of Shabbat be our shelter from life's storms. Shabbat allows you to connect to that child inside, to be a little bit silly, to dance in your spot, to get up and dance if you want. Yes, Sherry, I can see those shoulders already moving. We're on page 44.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. 2, 3, 4, 5.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי. All you, my friends. שבת ויהי. Take it away. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את
השבת לדורותם,
בראשונם.
Maestro, thank you for
Thank you for
elevating
being here.
us, elevating and elevating and elevating us.
תודה.
Ay, 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 ay.
So nice.
You know, you shoot a missile and then all that power and then it floats in orbit without need to invest any more energy. That's where we are now. If we did our job right, if we did what we need to do, we're in that orbit now. We have a few minutes of just having this look from above. We're able to evaluate our life, to evaluate everything that's happening just from above. We're a bit disconnected. And on Shabbat, the focus should be gratitude. So imagine that you're somewhere there in the space. You're looking down at your life. You're seeing yourself waking up in the morning. You're seeing yourself going down the steps. Maybe somebody's waiting there with a cup of coffee. How lucky are you? Maybe somebody prepared a bottle of water for you with a little bit of lemon because that's what you take every. How lucky are you? Maybe there's a cat or a dog that are, they're so happy to see you. Just take a look from up there. We're going to spend 2 or 3 minutes in that sense of gratitude. You can remain seated or you're welcome to stand, whatever feels right for you. Our tefillah begins on page 46. We turn east to Jerusalem. Few moments of silent prayer to look from above and to appreciate all that we have in life. To say these words of blessing, may these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise.
Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Amcha, Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Amcha, Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Amcha, Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav, HaYisrael Amcha, Tasim Le'olam.
ישראל עמך תשים לעולם שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. It's time to pray for healing. I'll invite you all to stand, and if you wish to come under our healing tallit, if you're in need of special prayer for healing, it could be healing of the heart, healing of the body, healing of the soul, or healing of the mind. I know that there's not one person here that isn't carrying a burden, isn't carrying a pain, a yearning. If you can, try and come closer to the center. Maybe if you feel, put your hand on the shoulder of someone right next to you, in front of you. I promise you, even if they look proud, as if they don't need that shoulder, your ability to lift them up. Just make sure they didn't have a shoulder replacement last week. Maybe that's what they're praying for healing. But my friends, your ability to lift somebody up with this little gesture of a hand on the shoulder, a look, we can lift each other up. We have that power. You don't have to be God. You have to be with that spark. So look at somebody's eyes around you. Just tell them it's going to be okay. They're not alone. We're in this together, in this, i.e. life. Think of the people that are in special need for healing. Medicine, in some fabulous ways, we know that people that know that you pray for their healing heal faster. We don't know how it happens, but it does. So send your love, send your prayers to your loved ones who need healing. Whisper their names. Let's pray together. God and God of our ancestors, please help us heal ourselves and help us have the power to heal others, to remind them that there is a possibility of healing always, every place, all the time. Amen. The person next to you might need a hug. If they give you a consent with their eyes, give them a hug. Make sure there's consent. And please have a seat. Group hugs are acceptable. Yep. But just make sure you're seated by the time I get back to the bima. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're getting close towards the end of the Torah. If I remember correctly, you have Bereshit, Noach, the second Torah portion. So we know that in a month from now, we're already starting the Torah all over again. We're at the end of the book of Deuteronomy. And Sam, remember when you started studying for bar mitzvah, we told you there's 613 commandments, and most bar mitzvah kids get pale at that moment. They say, I have to do all 613? And then first of all, they get pale when they realize there's not only 10, that there's 613. But then I told you, I believe I told you, and if I didn't, I'm telling you now, that don't worry, because you don't have to do all the commandments. Part of them you just can't do. They're non-existent anymore. And the commandment that this Torah portion begins with is one of those commandments that you can't do. It's called mitzvat bikurim. When you get to the land that the Lord, this is Moses talking to the people of Israel before they cross the Jordan. When you enter the land that the Lord your God is giving you as a heritage and you possess it and settle it, you shall take some of every first fruit of the soil which you harvest from the land that the Lord your God is giving you, put it in the basket and go to the place where the Lord your God will choose to establish his name. And you shall go to the priest in charge, and there's a whole ceremony where you offer the first fruit of the land to the high priest and to God. Which is very interesting, because if you had to write the Torah, you would say when you get into the land, first make sure to make some roads, some infrastructure, we need some electricity, we need some sewage, make sure that there's a good a deli next to you, laundry. You have to, the first thing you do is take the fruit and bring it to God. And by the way, there's the word God appears, give appears there 7 times. Time after time, take your fruit and bring them. Take your fruit and bring them. And when you do, so even before we say that, so this idea, it was very funny, because this week I had the privilege of learning with Sam, and we were preparing for Shabbat. We baked some challah together, and the challah was fresh and beautiful, and we said the blessing over the challah, and immediately Sam, and this is good because you're totally normal. Most of us would do exactly the same, so no shame in here. Sam took the challah after he said Amotzi and was about to eat it himself. Wait. This is our instinct, right? We see a beautiful challah, we see a delicious fruit on the tree, we see something that we like, and the first instinct is, like in Finding Nemo, mine. The first instinct is, I go first. But when we taught, Sam, we worked on this, that when you'd say hamotzi, right, you tear the bread, what do? You start giving it. That is a little bit of that bikurim. That is the idea. I see something, and every commandment is supposed to push us to be a little bit better, to fight that instinct. The instinct, a child, you put an ice cream or a challah in front of a child, the instinct is to take their hand and to bring it to the mouth. A mitzvah is supposed to make you stop. When you light candles, you stop. When you say the blessing for that, you stop. Mitzvot, commandments, are supposed to make us stop and pause and think. And what better commandment, when you arrive to the land, to take from the fruit of the land and to bring it to God, which reminds you that what you have is not necessarily yours. That what you have was given to you. Yes, you might be a successful farmer. You have a beautiful harvest, but somebody gave you the land so that you could be. Somebody gave you, in today's world, it's maybe somebody gave you the education. Somebody provided for you to be able to go to school, to study, to do what it is. Somebody gave you something. It could have been advice. It could have been anything that helped you get where you are. None of us are self-made people. We always stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. And God is saying here, because there's a whole, and I won't go into it too deeply, but there's a whole ceremony where you're supposed to come to the priest and say, Arami Oved Avi. My father was a lost wanderer. You basically tell the story that is in the Haggadah of Pesach. In the story of Pesach, you basically say, I remember my father. You don't say my ancestors. You say my father. My father was in Egypt. My father was a slave. And look at me. I'm bringing you fruit. It's not my grandfather, each and every one of us, our father. And by the way, the word Haggadah has the word to say, but God also means luck. If you want one of those things scratch card, in Hebrew they're called chishgad, fast luck. Chishgad, God, lahagid. When you say lahagid, you say, how lucky am I? How lucky am I that God gave me this land? How lucky am I that somebody gave me something for which I could produce something? And the way to show that you are grateful is to give back. you go to the Kohen and you give back some of that fruit that first came. There's so many benefits. It stops you from thinking just about yourself. It helps you think about others. It reminds you that your father, and it could have been your great-great-great-grandfather, your father, this idea before you was not as lucky as you are, and that you share that luck that you have with others. And so, Sam, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but you can do the mitzvah of Bikurim today. While you can't grow food, none of us can, and take it to the temple, we always have the ability to recognize that everything that we have is a blessing. That everything that we are, for the good and for the bad, there are things that our parents and grandparents did to us or for us that are not positive, and we have learned from what they did wrong to do right. We are not self-made people. We have a past. And if we arrive to the place where we arrived, if we arrive to this promised land, if we feel that we are in our own promised land, let us make sure that at least once a year, we take the fruit of our success and we share it with God. We share it with others. And so, Sam, I know that you are going to be that kind of person that shares his blessings with others. And while your mitzvat bikurim will be a different kind of mitzvah, it will be just to share the goodness of your heart with others. And I wish us all a Shabbat in which we can go home and maybe share with our loved ones, maybe share with our neighbors, maybe share with our kids on the phone or with anyone who will listen, a story about our name, who came before us, what they did for us that allowed us to get to where we are. And let us remember that if we stand tall, it is only because we are standing on the land that God has given us and on the shoulders of giants who came before us. Shabbat Shalom.
In the garden there's a tree planted by someone who only imagined me. What love, what vision. I marvel at the gift. No fruit could be sweeter than this. I'm standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me. I'm standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me. So in the garden, I'll plant a seed, a tree of life for you to reap. The fruit will ripen in the sun. The words will sound when I am gone. These are the things I pass along: the fruit, the book, and the song. I'm standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me. I'm standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me. I'm standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before me.
before we say the Kaddish, before we remember those that we love so much, before we enter that period of year in which we remind ourselves the importance of forgiving them, forgiving others, I just want to offer one more hook for tomorrow's night's lichot at 7:30. Teach me to forgive, we will read tomorrow. Adon HaSlichot, Master of Pardonings, teach me to forgive myself, to forgive you, to forgive those who have hurt me in the name of ignorance, mindlessness, certainty, rigidity, even righteousness and justice, even love. To forgive the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, to forgive nature, human and otherwise, personal and impersonal, majestic and petty, to forgive death, to forgive you, to forgive myself, to forgive it all, so that I may open to life, living and dying as it is, flowing through me, carrying it all along. A great river of living and dying, a mighty stream of birthing and dying, a tower wave of living and dying. Holy Merciful One, Baal HaRachamim, teach me to forgive. And so when we say Kaddish, we think of all of those that we love. And we remind ourselves that a big part of loving is also forgiving. As a community, as a congregation, as a family, we remember those who passed away in the last month, the last Loshim. Alice Esposoto, grandmother of Josh Goodman, and Chelsea Eisenberg Goldwyn, granddaughter of Alan and Phyllis Eisenberg. Norman Miller, father of Steve Miller, father-in-law of Lori, and Beverly Schiff, our congregant and friend. We also acknowledge and remember those who passed at this time in seasons past. If you are a mourner, and the name of your loved one is read, we invite you to stand so that we could offer you that love and comfort that you so seek. We remember Anna Baskov, Shmuel Ben Tzvi, Anna G. Cohen, Sandy Englisher, Harry Frederick, Nina Geilich, Max Gideon, Mimi Glenn, Rose Goldberg, Larry Goldblatt, Ira Griefer, Peril Gurevitz, Rose Hoffinger, Carol Eisenberg, Ruth Johnson, Joseph Jordan, Stanley Kahn, Harold Katzman, Edith Krigsman, Helen Kumble, Max Leipin, George Lipman, Renee Machluf Tubul, Charles Millian, Peter Newberg, Anna Neuenhaus, Bennett Joan Harmony Nyberg, Lee Pyland, David Reese, Ben Henry Rose, Natalie Rosen, Beatrice Rothenberg, Miltel Schechner, Walter Schiff, Emily Schwartz, Danielle Sigalowitz, Yeda Shore, Helen Willen, Belle Winchef, Paul Wolf, and Milton Walmer. If there are other names that you wish to add, please rise and add their names. As a community, we stand together in memory and honor as we read the Kaddish on page 294. 294. יתקדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך רעותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עולמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. May the one who creates harmony and I bring peace to us, to all of Israel, to which we say Amen. And I want to thank you once again, to thank the Schleifer family for sponsoring our Oneg today in honor of Sam, and to the Uzi family as well in honor of their daughter Miri Michal. I want to once again invite you. You have nothing to lose, only to gain. 7:30 is our pre-Oneg. 8 p.m. is Havdalah and Slichot. Come prepared for the high holidays. Come prepared for the holidays. You would never go to the biggest thing that you have in your but not prepared. Tomorrow is a great opportunity to prepare. We invite you to come, and high holiday tickets were mailed to you this week. Look for them in the mail, and if there's any kind of something, just call the temple office, and our amazing staff will be happy to help you with any question that you have. We want to wish you again a Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for spending your Friday evening Shabbat with us. We send you out there reminding you the motto of Temple Judea, joyous Judaism that inspires action. We hope you feel a pride in your Jewishness and your Judaism today. We hope you are inspired to act. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so
et
much.
Hashem b'simcha.
And thank you so much, Dale, Juan, and Iran, for lifting us up and giving
Amen.
us more joy.
Et Adonai b'simcha. Et Adonai b'simcha. Bou lefanav. Bou lefanav. Bou lefanav. Birnanana. 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 Birnana. Shabbat Shalom.
Fulfill a contract.